What's good? What's good, YouTube? Elite DNA Origins. I go by the name Pushy Push. And yes, that is my nickname. Everybody does call me Push. I mostly talk about the old world, the last paradigm, the last 1,000 years, and a lot of symbolism. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about symbolism involving the elite bloodline and what separates them from everybody else. So, if we can look at this picture right here, this has a lot of our red cross symbols. So, it's the symbol that is associated with health. And it says alternative symbols you may use when red cross emblem use is not authorized. So, we're going to be looking at two of these unauthorized symbols at the bottom, which is the snake on the pole and the snakes on the pole with the wings. So we do associate these symbols with health, and it's understandable because the elite, they associate it with, their bloodline. So we're going to look into the symbolism of the snake and the bird to understand what we are looking at right here. But if we look mainly at the one to the far right, it has the pole, it has the snake going around like the DNA symbol, and it has the wings. Let me get your take on this. Here's the exact same image, but it is in reverse. You have the snake on top, you have the pole, you have the wings on the bottom. The snake is in the form of a DNA symbol. Let's go back one to kind of compare that. As you can see, the snake is on the bottom and the wings is on the top. And if you go back, you can see that the snake is on the top and the wings is on the bottom. And what this is telling you is there is a DNA, in my studies, there is a DNA battle, one group fighting another group, almost like the movie Underworld. Where the lichens were going against the werewolves. Well, this is almost like the exact same thing, where you have one DNA group over another DNA group. So if we go back, that is what you're looking at right here. So we're going to definitely identify what makes it have wings and that which creates the snake itself. So this is what we're looking at right here. And this coin right here, this symbol, I've looked all over the internet and I have not found this symbol where the snake is on top and the bird wings is on the bottom. Like right here, the bird wings is on the top, the snake is on the bottom. That symbol is everywhere, all over Google. But this symbol and the vice versa, it is hard to find. And the only time I found it was right here. So on this coin right here, you can see that there is a long pole going all the way through, and the snake is on the top, and the bird wings is on the bottom. And this is the only image or coin that I was able to find that had this image where, again, the snake is on the top and the bird is on the bottom. We're normally seeing this symbol in the vice versa, where the bird wings is on the top and the snake is on the bottom. So there's something to look at right there. If we look at this is literally telling you DNA. I didn't have to make this up. This is a stock picture that is literally on Google. And you can see that the bird wings is on top, the snake is in form of the DNA, and then they threw a DNA symbol on top. This is so you can know that every time you look at that symbol right there, it's associated with the DNA of people. It's just about what people is associated to and what is the DNA in particularly that everybody is coveting inside of themselves. And that's what this picture does right here. This is the exact same picture as the first, except it has a little more illustration to it. So you can see at the bottom, there's two hands. As you can see, there's the snake rolling up each side with the DNA symbol, and then there's a bird sitting on the top. If you look close, there are two eyes on the head of the snake. So this is symbolism totally. This is symbolism right here. But what is this saying? The hand on the left and the hand on the right belongs to one of the snakes. So both carry this snake DNA. The thing that's in between the pole is the original DNA of man. So you have the snake wrapped around the original DNA of man. And then you have this bird DNA. And what I've noticed is, and this will be a part 2 to this, but I've noticed that there's groups that have this snake and bat DNA, and then there's groups that have snake and a particular bird DNA. So in this situation, it's a snake with a particular bird DNA. And you might say, well, how do you know this is people? This is the reason why they put the 2 eyes at the top. Let's zoom in. See the 2 eyes that's sitting above the snakes. That's letting you know that these are people. These are people who have this DNA inside of them. Some of them have just the snake and maybe the bat. Some of them have the snake and the bird. And this is why I said it kind of reminds me of the movie Underworld, because you have 2 fighting forces. This right here started off looking like a medical symbol. We go back. It started off looking like a medical symbol. But as you see the slight changes start to let you know that this symbol right here was the original. So the snake was above the wings. And if we get here, that is what we're looking at. But now we're starting to understand that it's people. It is people who have this snake DNA, and it's people who have snake and bird DNA. This is the reason why they put the eyes above the snake, so that you will know this is a person who has both DNAs in them. It's 2 types of people, like Group A and Group B. Group A might have the snake DNA, and Group B might have the snake and bird DNA. So we'll get further into that. This coin is a definitely interesting one. As you can see, there is the bird and there is the snake. Just like right here. There's the bird and there's the snake and there's the people's eyes. So this is people who have this DNA in them. So when you get to this coin right here, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at the bird and the snake. I don't know if these people right here on the coin have this DNA in them. I'm not going to say that. I am just saying that we are dealing with an elite group that considers their blood divine over everyone. And what makes their blood divine is because they have a particular blood inside of them. Like for me, when I look at this, this is madness to mix snake and bird inside of man. But, you know, if you're born with this DNA, then I can't blame you for considering yourself special. But this is what we're dealing with when we're dealing with elite bloodline. We're dealing with people who have this type of blood in them, and they consider themselves different, better, all of that. Here's another example right here, and you really got to look close at this coin right here. What you have is a person on the left and a person on the right, and there's a crown at the top. Coming out from the bottom of the crown is like 2 hands, and the 2 hands form a DNA symbol coming down on 2 pillars, and underneath the pillars is tails. One of them looked like a dragon's tail, almost like a devil's tail, and then the other side on the left side has a tail underneath it. These coins are 16th and 17th century coins. What are they trying to tell you? I mean, think about this. This is a DNA symbol. And this is why we have to go back and you have to look at this stuff. That's a DNA symbol. And you see the 2 human eyes right there? It's telling you. So there's a hand on the left, a hand on the right. They're holding the pole and they're saying that that's the original DNA. And then there's DNA grafted into it. So you have both sides having animal DNA and possible both sides having a particular bird DNA. And you will see why I say bat and another type of bird. This is one of the birds right here. So snake and that bird right there is what's sitting on here. And it's people. That's why you're seeing it right here. And there's a DNA thing going on. The elite are not normal people. They look like us. You know, they hurt, they cry, they sing, but their bloodline is different, you know, and maybe that's the reason for why, you have the adrenochrome rush and all the little sacrificing going on is because if you carry an animal's blood inside of you, you might carry some of its desires. So if it has a taste for blood, you might want medium rare meat, you know? So that is something to kind of think about with this right here. But this was interesting because it shows the DNA symbol and it shows people. So I'm showing you that the snake and the bird is mixed in with people. Here's another example. So there's a woman on the top and you can see 3 rows of birds. And then down below, this is where religion starts to get questioned, because who is giving you your religion? This right here is telling you, and I don't know if this woman has this in her, but if you look close, the angel has the bird in front of him. And why couldn't this be telling you that there are people who have bird and snake DNA inside of them? They have written themselves off as divine. So you're going to see them as angels, when the truth of the matter is this is a person who has this particular bird and snake blood in them. And when they go to symbolize themselves, they symbolize themselves with wings. And they call themselves divinity and divine things written inside of the Bible. If we go right here, this is an example of that right there. You have a person, they have the wings. This is an angel. But we are taught this in the 21st century. We are taught that this is an angel. But a long time ago, 16th, 17th, maybe 15th, they understood that the image of an angel was a man who had animal DNA inside of them. So that's what I see every time I look at an angel. I'm looking at somebody who has bird DNA inside of them. They don't have wings. This is symbolic for what type of animal they are mixed with. If we get to this picture right here, this one right here is interesting because it shows what is to me the beginnings of understanding that there's 2 types of bloodline and they're warring against each other. So on the very bottom, you have that same bird that we've been looking at, and it's bowing down to snakes. It's bowing down to snakes. And then on the top, on the left, you have a hand coming out the cloud, and it has the snake like in a chokehold. And then on the right, there's a hand coming out the cloud with a stick. And I've always associated that with the wild man, the group that was fighting the Moors in the 1300s. So this definitely has some DNA issue where you're dealing with people who have snake DNA and bird DNA inside of them, and they are fighting each other. And that is what you're looking at on this coin. You're seeing at the bottom, the bird is giving homage to the snake. It's bowed. And then at the top, the snake is being attacked. In my opinion, these are 2 groups of people. This is the reason why we go all the way back here. We go all the way back and we see this. This is the snake on top, the bird on the bottom. So that which has the snake DNA is in power. And those which has the bird DNA, which is all the same people, obviously they're not in power at this time. But on this, the bird DNA is on top and the snake is on bottom. So obviously there has been a power shift that we don't know nothing about. And this is why I said it reminds me of Underworld. But let's go a little step further. This right here can easily take you into a racist stance. And I can understand if you felt like this had racist origins, but this requires you to have strong, deep knowledge on symbolism in order to not look at this in that manner. So what you're seeing is a black person or a melanated person. They're on the ground and they have a snake body. The body of them has wings like of a bat. Remember, I was telling you that there's more than one type of bird that they're mixed with. So on top, you have a white person and they have wings with the sword. They are the same. They are the same. They both are man, but they have a DNA that is different. One group has snake and bat DNA, and the other group has snake and bird DNA. So what you're looking at right here is two types of elite DNA groups fighting each other for power. Let's go back and look at that in its true form. This is the angel that's on top. The snake part is the black person on the bottom. Switch over. This is the black person on top, and on the bottom is the white person. That's what you're looking at. Bloodline wars. And they are the same people. Bloodline wars mixed with snake and bird DNA. See the two eyes? Those are people mixed with this snake and bird DNA. That's why you see the bird and the snake DNA. And you see the DNA symbol right there. You see the tails coming down at the bottom because these people are mixed with animal DNA. When you get further, you can see that in your religion, it might be true that they're showing you themselves in the form of a divinity image. They're showing you themselves like as if they're divine. They're teaching you that angels are divine, when truthfully the secret Gnostic knowledge, it is somebody who is mixed with animal DNA, with a bird DNA, and they don't have wings. This is just the symbolic and illustration. So let's go further. That is what you're looking at right here. You're looking at an order. When you see the angel looking person, the person white with wings on top, and he's standing on top of the black person with the snake and bat wings, what you're looking at is a DNA war. You're looking at something that is different than me and you. Like, it looks black, it looks white, but their DNA is different. And while we might fight with each other over racism, these people fight with each other over classism. So they know they're the same people, and they don't let outside groups come in. This is the reason why when you get into that Illuminati world, they will check your DNA to see if you match up. And this happens on the black side and the white side. So I'm gonna definitely show that a little further. But this is what you're looking at. You're looking at when the black reptilian was in power, and below is when the white reptilian was in power. The wings below the snake. And if you go back, this is the wings above the snake. So the white reptilian is in power. And this is how deep this is. That emblem, this is who it comes from. It comes from the Queen of England. It belongs to her. And you don't think that she doesn't have ties into elite bloodlines? You know, there's a lot of conversation about her, and she passes this pendant out that I'm showing to all her constituents. She passes it out to all the people that is important to her. And this isn't about racism. This is about elite blood power. So the old regime, which might have been black reptilians, has now been conquered by white reptilians. Me and you might not be reptilian. They are reptilian, and they are in power. That is what you're looking at right there. Why do you think they put the crown above the snake? It's because the crown can only go on a person. That still line right there, that is your DNA pole. And what they did was integrate a snake's DNA inside of man. And now there's people who are carrying that DNA and sitting in a position of power. They look like us, but they're not like us. This is a great example because while we're thinking this is a sign of health, we're not realizing that these people run the world. There is a people with a bloodline that is over us all. And they have managed to put racism and everything in front of us. If you look inside of where you're from, check out your poverty level and understand that you have the same elite problem that I have here, right here in America. Let's go further. This is what you're looking at. This ultimately is what you're looking at. If you didn't believe me when I said there is a DNA problem, that the elite that runs us, they are not exactly like us. And to be honest with you, they are people who were placed in power. They aren't people who assume power. We talking about the world was conquered and then a new breed of people was placed in power. So when we're talking about incubator babies and those things like that, there was a bunch of cloning, but these children that was being cloned are not regular children. So this is what I'm showing you right here. As you can see on the right, you see a black person and he has the animal body grafted to him. And this is simply saying that in the past, the grafting of animal DNA started with melanated people. I don't know if it's an Africa thing or what, I don't try to put that type of thing there. I'm only going off of what the symbolism is talking about. But, Africa is an interesting place because there is a lot of DNA issues there. But this is what you're seeing is the grafting of the DNA from animal to man started with black people. And to me, this is things that are going on before the 15th century. And then when you see it on the left, this is what I consider to be the success of grafting the animal with man. If you notice, the black person is throwing the as up below symbol. The white person is throwing the as up below, as above, below symbol. And then the animal is throwing it up. So see, the animal connected to the black person, they didn't have the success as much as what is going on with the lighter person. So when you see this animal and it looked like it can talk, what you're seeing is a complete DNA put together person. So there's somebody walking around with animal DNA that is able to communicate and openly knows that it has this DNA inside of them. And it knows that it's different, though it walks around like me and you, black or white. They walk around like me and you, black or white. That is what's going on right here. And these people are running your government. They are the queens of your government. This is the reason why I can go all the way back. This pendant belongs to the queen. Some of you would look at this and say this is racist. And I'm saying this is bloodline. And the queen is saying that her bloodline, which is animal bird, has conquered the black people, which was animal, snake, reptilian. That's what this is right here. Bloodlines. So definitely, I want y'all to definitely think about this right here. I know this was a pretty wild one. Part 2 will be a little more thorough. This right here was just enough to get everybody on the same page so I didn't sound wild when I'm talking out there. But that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with bloodlines. I am going to drop a part 2. So definitely drop a like, sub, and continue to run with me.